Hello everyone, my name is William from 222 Productions and I am here to talk to you about the American Ninja Warrior Season 11 Cincinnati Qualifiers in approximately 20 minutes or less. But before we begin, I have a special request for everyone in the comments right now. I want you to go into the comment section and I want you to come up with your own Ninja Warrior boy band group. I want you to come up with the name of 3, 4, or 5 male Ninja Warriors who would form this boy band group, and then I want you to come up with a name for that group. I might do something with it, I might not do something with it, but after one of the contestants in this week's episode, I just had this idea for a Ninja Warrior boy band group. I want to see what that's like, so let me know what you can come up with. Now on that note, I'm here to talk to you about the Cincinnati Qualifiers in approximately 20 minutes or less, starting now. So, this would have to be the absolute best episode so far this season. I really enjoyed this episode overall. So just let's go over the course really quickly. We have the shrinking steps, which has been in every episode so far, of course. Then we got the return of the ring swing. It's an obstacle that, I wasn't a big fan of, never been a big fan of, still not a big fan of. But I don't hate it. I just don't like how people can get hung up on the second obstacle in that way. That's just sort of my issue with it. It was still a big killer. It took out 26 people, so it's still do a lot of damage. And I think that's just partially because the whole getting the ring out of the cradle is difficult for inexperienced people. And then we have the return of the cannonball, aka the spin bridge, or the spinning bridge, as it's known in A&W. For those of you who don't know, the spinning bridge originated as the cannonball in a show called Viking. And then it was brought over to Sasuke because Viking was made by the same people. And then it made its way to A&W. Spinning bridge is it's a great obstacle. It's always a challenging obstacle, one that you can't overlook. And we will certainly talk about a few people who have failed that obstacle, including some you didn't see. And then we had the wing nuts in obstacle 4. Wing nuts, always a good obstacle. It's interesting to have it here. I think I'll get into a little bit, but yeah, it's a good obstacle. Slingshot is the brand new obstacle, the sole brand new obstacle on this course. You got a bar and you're holding onto 2 cradles that are made up of bungee cords, and you have to bounce from cradle to cradle. Sometimes you're going up, sometimes you're going down, and you have to hold on to it. I like the obstacle. It is an obstacle that can be done very quickly. In fact, I saw a tester video where the actual obstacle was done instantaneously. Basically, there was a tester I saw that basically went boing, 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 one bounce each cradle and completed the obstacle. So it is totally possible to do quickly, but it can be tricky if you miss and mess up. And then, of course, we round things out with the warped walls. And so, let me just quickly go over some of my notes here. Yep. All right, good stuff. I like what I see here. Okay, so what are we going to talk about right now? I guess, honestly, the one I really just want to talk about right away is Mike Bernardo. I didn't know he was running. I didn't, because, I knew the stuff he was going through. I knew, at least to some extent, I knew. I knew about the medical stuff. And I'm glad that, at least, as of now, it's not diagnosed with ALS, because that was very scary when I first heard about it. And as of the Baltimore taping, which was about approximately, I would say, a month before Cincinnati, he wasn't running. And so when I found out he was running, I was very surprised and happy that he was doing it, because he loves doing Ninja Warrior. And I know Mike's subscribed and he does watch this stuff at least sometimes. I just want to say, Mike, you're a good man. I love you. I hope nothing for the best for you. And I was so happy to see you clear this qualifier course. I wrote no notes, absolutely zero notes, because I was just so fixated on the run, because I didn't know how he did, and I'm glad to see that he cleared. I was so happy. This was the feel good story of the season so far. At least for me, the whole thing just felt very genuine. The emotion of everyone on the sidelines and stuff. I feel like this is what A&W goes for a lot of times when they go for the more, I guess, emotional storylines. But in my opinion, they rarely hit. This one hit. This one hit for me hard, and I think it's partially just because I have a friend in the form of Mike Bernardo, and he's a good guy. I'm glad. All right, so just moving on. They went right in after some more fast forwards. They went to like another inspirational one in Cameron Nave, about how like he lost his dad, who was a Ninja Warrior fan, and I think this one also worked, just from like an emotional standpoint, just sort of like everything that they kind of just want to talk about with his past and how much it meant to him and his mother. He's moving on. He failed the slingshot, but he's moving on. I'm really glad that he moved on. He's moving on. All that. It was really good. So there's a few fast forward runs I want to highlight before I forget. Mike Wright, Speedo Ninja. He looks good in those shorts. Did he move on? That good. Failed the slingshot. We'll see him again. So I'm glad about that. We had Michael Torres fail the mega wall. Whatever. And there was a wrestler guy named Sem Gray, who went by Semsi, who cleared. He had I liked his outfit. I liked his outfit a lot. And Jerry DeRulio failed the slingshot also, and she made it into the top 30. Actually, what's interesting is that we have once again we had 4 women in the top 30. Wasn't even mentioned. It's just sort of like, it's good that the women are overall doing better. It'd be nice if the women's rule just kind of becomes irrelevant, so we could stop having a debate about whether or not it should exist, but not yet. And while I'm thinking about it, I just want to talk about a few of the ninjas you haven't seen, whether they're fan favorites or someone else. So I was asked, where's James McGrath? Unfortunately, he didn't compete this season. He had shoulder surgery, and he just wasn't ready, unfortunately, to run this year, so he sat this season out. Brian Alder also didn't compete. I don't know why exactly. I guess from what I've heard, he was taking the year off because he didn't feel ready. It was weird because at one point he did say he was training for season 11, but then he's not. So yeah, he didn't compete either. Kyle Scholze failed the spinning bridge, who you didn't see, unfortunately. Kyle Scholze, from what I've heard, for those who don't know, he was the deaf ninja. I heard that he actually scorpioned, unfortunately, and he might have gotten hurt. So, ooh. And this was very surprising, but like they didn't show Ian Dory at all this episode, and like he failed the spin bridge, and so he's not moving on. And I was shocked that he didn't get mentioned at all, because it's like he gets featured a lot in the past seasons. He's gotten a lot of airtime, and just to completely not get mentioned at all is so bizarre. I'm baffled in why they didn't do that. But yeah, Spinning Bridge is no joke, man. It took out 24 people. Basically half the people failed, almost half the people failed the ring swing or the spinning bridge. So, and literally less than half the people made it past the third obstacle, which is surprising that the cutoff was still the fifth obstacle regardless. I think it just means the people who made it past the spring bridge actually did a pretty good job on the wing nuts, because not a lot of people took it out. And then after Cameron Nave, just kind of going back to the actual episode, we had Tyler Yamauchi, and I smelled something fishy right away, because he came up without a profile, and they just had the stats, and right away I'm thinking either he's going to clear with a fast time or he's about to be eliminated. And for some reason, just watching it, I'm like, he's going to be eliminated, isn't he? And unfortunately, he was. He tripped up on the spinning bridge, and he is out. It's unfortunate. It's a tough obstacle. You can't underestimate that obstacle. And then we had Jackson Twait. And my God, this has to be one of the worst profile pieces of the season so far. It's like, I don't have a problem with them doing goofy profile pieces. I've talked about it before, that I prefer the funny over the serious, but this was so bad comedy. He has a cat and he rides a scooter? What? And it just went on forever. It went like a minute too long. It was almost like he had two profile pieces back to back. And I'm just watching this and I'm like, this guy better be going to the power tower, because there's no reason he should be getting this much airtime in this profile piece. And yeah, it turns out he was really good, and he went to the power tower because he finished in 1:46, a fast time. I respect his ability on the course, but my God, just I don't fault him for, like, trying to be approaching the storyline in a goofy way. That's fine. It was just the profile piece was just so painful. It was unfunny and just kind of awkward and but he moved on. It was great. Let's talk about Michelle Warnky. Basically turning into like ECW or something. Man, we gotta figure out how to get people to stop bleeding on American Ninja Warrior. I feel like between like the flywheels and the ring swing and other obstacles, what was it? The spider bounce. We got people busting their faces open, busting their eyes open, smashing their faces. We gotta stop that. We gotta get people to stop doing that. But she unfortunately busted her eyebrow right around here on the ring swing, on the second ring, trying to descend, and it hit her right in the face. She cut open, bleeding, and yeah, it's she cleared the whole course. That's great. Michelle's strong. Michelle's been strong for a long time, and I'm glad to see her continue to do well. So yeah, good stuff from Michelle. Good, she's a good person. She's a good person. The Tower of Power is very surprised to see both Towers of Power get fast forward. Especially because, like, early on, they were like, I think they were pretty sure they were in the intro. They were like, oh, the Towers of Power are going to the Power Tower. No, they both failed the Slingshot, but they're both moving on, so good for them. I believe. Yes, they are. And one person that I want to mention is my friend Philip Scott made his A&W debut. Unfortunately, he didn't get shown this episode, but he made it to the Slingshot. He is moving on. Philip is a great guy, and I'm glad to hear that he did well. He's moving on, and hopefully we will see him in the finals in 6 weeks. I think we will. I feel confident in that, and I'm looking forward to people seeing how well he can do, because he is a good guy. He's a strong guy too. Shouldn't overlook him. Ethan Swanson, I was told, was actually the first person to clear. So I like how during his profile piece, every time he did anything high in the sky, there was like this big "do not attempt" on the screen, because they don't want any legal repercussions involved. Don't blame him. But it's just Ethan was fast. What was it? Minute 19, he bounced halfway through that slingshot. He looked so good, so good. But yeah, that fear training is insane. He's a professional stuntman, I believe, and so, well, he was at least. He's used to this stuff, and it's just, I couldn't do it. I absolutely couldn't do it. Even like to a small degree, I couldn't do it. They had Drew Lachey too. Wanted to mention him. From 98 degrees. This is why I asked the question in the beginning of the episode. I like the idea of having celebrities compete on the show, similar to Sasuke. I got no problem with them doing it. Sasuke does it all the time. They have personalities and comedians appear on the show, and boy band members. So Drew Lachey doing this is no problem. I say we should get more boy band members on it. What's Lance Bass up to? Or Nick Carter? They should be free, right? Let's get them on this show next year. Get them running the course. But yeah, he went on the ring swing, but it was cool to see him. 98 degrees represented. My favorite 98 degrees song is Give Me One Night, Ono Noches, I believe, is what it's called. That's the one I know the most. I was never the biggest 98 degrees guy growing up, but that one song I liked. I was more of a Backstreet Boys and NSYNC guy. That's just me. But yeah, I perfectly fine with seeing him on the course like that. Dustin Rocco. Really glad to see him back. I remember him from the old seasons. I met him during the Pro Ninja Warrior weekend I went to at the Movement Lab back when it was called the Warrior Lab still in 2012. He's a great guy. He believe we actually went to the same college, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, good to see him back and clearing the course. Chris DeGangi failed the slingshot, and then they did a whole profile piece about how Chris DeGangi and Jesse LeBrecq are engaged. When I interviewed them, I wasn't aware that they were already engaged because they didn't go public with it yet. But they're a good couple. They just from interviewing them, you can tell that they are definitely in love. So good for them. But I do like the little joke where on Chris DeGangi's name card, they changed it from Jesse's boyfriend to Jesse's fiance. I like that little joke. I do think Chris DeGangi, I do wish he got a little more credit on his own merits, but maybe he has to clear the whole stage 4 in order to do that. It's unfortunate. But yeah, no, Jesse cleared the course. There's not a lot to say other than that, like, she just looked good. She looked strong. Her third year in a row doing it, which is tied for Megan Martin with the record. So good for her. And the last run they showed was Grant McCartney. They brought up that he failed to reach Vegas the past 2 years, which is a weird statistic to bring up. And there was a part of me that was like, so is he going to fail and be eliminated? But no, he ended up getting the Mega Wall on a second try, $5,000. Good for him. Good for him. He deserves it. A bit of a weird editing because because the past few weeks we've had someone run and then they go directly to the power tower. This one they didn't do that. They had the power tower on its own, and so I was a bit thrown off by that editing. Still overall a good episode, but the final power tower was Ethan Swanson versus Jackson Twait, number 1 and number 2 respectively. This was a good race. I think LA and this one were the two best races for the qualifier course versions. Just in case you aren't aware, the finals power tower is different. It's completely different. But the two of them had a really close race. Jackson Twait actually had the lead heading into the Lachey section, and Ethan just powered through those Lacheys, took the lead. Jackson ended up falling at the finish platform, rushing, trying to catch up to Ethan. Ethan hit the button first, and it was a great race. Ethan's moving on to Vegas. He can do the regional finals if he chooses. I don't know if he did or not. And so, there you have it. We know 6 people who are moving on to Vegas so far in the form of Hunter Gerard, Drew Dreschel, Dave Kavanaugh, Ethan Swanson, Daniel Gill, and the other one. Who was it? Hold on, I got all of them right here. Sean Bryan, of course. Sean Bryan. God, I totally blanked there. Sean Bryan. The other thing I just wanted to point out is the Mega Wall clears. So I said in the beginning of my predictions, I thought that they were going to give out less money this year for the Mega Wall, and that was just completely incorrect. So in Atlanta, just to kind of go through everything, Atlanta, we had 4 Mega Wall clears. 3 of them were $10,000. 1 was $5,000. So that's $35,000 right there. In LA, we had Scott Wilson get the 10K Mega Wall, and that brings us up to $45,000. In Oklahoma City, we had Daniel Gill get the $10,000, and Carson Williams get the $5,000. So that brings us up to a solid $60,000. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Mega Wall clears. Seattle had 1 Mega Wall clear in Lance Pikas, who got $2,500. So that brings us up to $62,500. That's 8 clears. And in Cincinnati, we had 1 Mega Wall clear for $5,000. So a grand total of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 9 Mega Wall clears for $67,500 given out from the Mega Wall, which is more than last year. So that prediction of mine was completely incorrect. And let's just finish things off with our top 30. So as well as the full results. So we had 104 people take on the Cincinnati Qualifiers. I believe that is indeed the most for any regional. So this was technically the toughest regional to move on in, because of just in terms of the most amount of competitors. We had 12 runs shown, 29 fast forwards, and only 9 runs shown of all the runs. 9 clears shown, I should say. I messed up the wording there. 9 clears shown. So we had 14 shrinking step fails, 26 ring swing fails, 24 spinning bridge fails, 10 wingnut fails, 16 slingshot fails, 3 mega wall fails, and 11 completions. One of those is a mega wall completion. Let's go through your top 30. We had 11 clears with Ethan Swanson, who won the speed pass and moving on to Vegas. Jackson Twait, Cameron Baumgarter, Jesse Pancras, Dustin Rocco, Jesse LeBrecq, Mike Bernardo, Trevin West, Sem Gray, Michelle Warnky, and Grant McCartney, who won $5,000 on the Mega Wall. We had 3 Mega Wall fails in the form of Michael Torres, Tyler Smith, and Jesse Maurer. And everyone else in the top 30 all failed the slingshot. That's 16 people. And Chris DeGangi, Jonathan Cooley, David Wamsdorf, Jesse Wildman, Dan Polizzi, Derek Panovi, Mike Wright, Philip Scott, Zane Paskey, Philip Huckey, Brendan Mears, Eddie Russell, Christopher Gaben, Cameron Nave, Amanda Odell, and Jerry DeRulio. And the final woman rounding up the top 5 women is Jamie Ross, who failed the spinning bridge. So that is everything for the Cincinnati qualifiers, and we are done with the qualifier rounds of Season 11 of American Ninja Warrior. We're moving on to the regional finals next week with LA. Let me all know what you thought about this episode of American Ninja Warrior. Did you like the Cincinnati Qualifiers? Let me know. I got a poll in the corner. Let me know in the comments in details about what you did and didn't like. And of course, if you want to see more reviews just like this, make sure you subscribe to know exactly when the reviews go up. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you next time for the LA Regional Finals.